certain drawbacks of classical theory. Classical theory failed to explain the stability of atom, the spectrum of hydrogen atom, the black body radiation, the properties of semiconducting materials, the relation between thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity of different materials, and the magnetic properties. All they are not explained on the basis of classical theory. So again, quantum theory is introduced by Max Planck. According to quantum theory, black body consisting of matter is composed of number of simple harmonic oscillators of all possible frequencies, and it cannot emit or absorb energy continuously. The emission or absorption of energy takes place in discrete amounts, which is quantized, and in the form of a small wave packets known as photons, or E is equal to hν, which is Planck's radiation law. Many of the features of classical theory, which classical theory could not be able to explain or explain by this Planck theory. But again, there are certain drawbacks of classical theory. So the properties of materials based on the electrical behavior is not explained on the basis of Planck's radiation law. So wave mechanics is introduced. Meanwhile, the de Broglie proposed the concept of matter waves. The fundamental aspect is the entire universe is composed of either matter or radiation or light, and light behaves as particle sometimes, and light has a wave nature sometimes. The phenomena of interference, refraction, polarization, all these are explained on the basis of wave nature of light. The phenomena of photoelectric effect, Compton effect, reflection, all these are explained on the corpuscular nature of light. So light possesses dual nature. So de Broglie also proposed that entire universe is mixed either with radiation or matter, and radiation is having dual nature. So any material particle can also be associated with a wave. So he has introduced a concept of a matter wave. Then it was again developed by Schrodinger by giving certain mathematical reformations. In the same equation, you can represent both the wave nature and particle nature, especially for the particles like electrons, photons, nucleons, etc. And the branch of physics which deals with these mathematical reformations, it is called as wave mechanics. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss the de Broglie concept of matter wave. Is this slide is visible, students? Yes, is it visible? Presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So unit 3, you have the first chapter as wave mechanics. So in this chapter, we are going to study the concept of matter waves and the de Broglie's wavelength for a given matter wave. Then properties of wave function, which is associated with a material particle, and its significance we are going to discuss. And Schrodinger time dependent and independent wave equations we are going to derive, and an application of Schrodinger time independent wave equation, which is particle in the one-dimensional box. That is also we are going to discuss in this chapter. So as we discussed, so light has dual nature. The properties of light can be divided into two distinct groups with respect to their properties. So the phenomena of reflection, refraction, interference, refraction, polarization, all the arising of propagation of light can be explained by the wave nature of light, as we rightly discussed, and the process of emission, absorption, black body radiation, photoelectric effect, Compton effect, and wave production, all they are explained on the basis of corpuscular nature of light. So sometimes light behaves as a wave, and sometimes light behaves as a particle. This is nothing but the dual nature of light. So in order to explain all the properties of light, both the wave and the particle properties should be assigned to it. Sometimes it is a wave, sometimes it is a particle. So it is said to possess dual nature of waves and particles simultaneously. So the wave and particle properties can be connected with the help of the relation E is equal to h nu, that is mc square. So here from Planck's law you have E is equal to h nu, where u is the frequency. Also from Einstein mass energy relation E is equal to mc square, you can write h nu is equal to mc square, or momentum of the particle B is equal to mc. It is the product of mass and velocity, that is nothing but h nu by c, or lambda is equal to you have h by p, which is Planck's constant by the momentum of photon, is the expression for the speed wavelength associated with a photon. This is as per the light is concerned. And de Broglie proposed that, like a material particle, like a wave, the material particle also can be associated with a wave. So de Broglie argued that since the symmetry is always conserved, because the entire nature it is a composition of both light and material particles, and just as light exhibits dual nature of waves and particles, the material particle like electrons, protons, they also should possess wave nature and should exhibit wave properties. So this is the dual nature of material particle or matter. I gave two examples in the last class. There is a principle in mechanics which is called as the principle of fixed action. The particle always chooses a path such that the action should be linear. It is similar to Fermat's principle in optics. Light always takes a path so that the time of transit is linear. So this is a similarity. Light is really having dual nature. The material particle, the behavior is same. And also the stable states of electrons in different orbits, they follow integer rules, and the same integer rules are also applicable for the vibrations of strings in mechanics. So basing on this symmetry, de Broglie argued that light wave, the material particle can also be associated with a wave. It is also having real nature, and the wave associated with the material particle is called as matter wave. So let us consider a particle of mass m moving with velocity v. Then the wavelength associated with the particle can be given by lambda is equal to h by mv or h by t. Very similar to, it's only a similarity we are taking. It's for a derivation. By comparing with the wavelength of photon, we are also writing the wavelength for the matter wave associated with the particle. The proof is here. According to Planck's radiation law, we have E is equal to h nu or hc by lambda. Hc is the speed of light. Lambda is the wavelength of light associated with it. And according to Einstein mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square, or that is hc by lambda. So from this, if you compare, you can write lambda is equal to h by mc. Now you take the case of a material particle, or like electron of mass m moving with velocity v. Then the wavelength associated with the particle is lambda is equal to h by mv or h by p. So this is called as the de Broglie wavelength of a matter wave. Lambda is equal to h by mv, that is equal to h by p, where p is the momentum, which is nothing but mv. M is the mass of the particle, v is the velocity. So this is only a similarity or analogy. It is not a derivation. So we have an expression for the wavelength of a photon. By comparing this, you can write the wavelength of matter wave associated with the particle can be expressed as lambda is equal to h by mv or lambda is equal to h by p. Then by taking this, there are a number of properties of this wavelength, de Broglie wavelength. So lighter is the particle. As mass decreases, the wavelength is more. Lambda is equal to h by u. M tends to 0, lambda will be more. Similarly, small is the velocity of the particle, greater is the wavelength of matter wave associated with it. That means when the particle coming to rest, the wavelength is infinity, almost very high. So if when v is equal to 0, then lambda is infinity. When the particle is at rest, then it is indeterminate. The wavelength associated with the particle is indeterminate. If v is infinite, then lambda is equal to 0. If particle travels with a great speed, then the wavelength associated with it is 0. So matter waves are generated by the motion of particles. So as the particle is in motion, it can be associated with the wave, especially for particles like electrons. You should understand this. This is not significant for particles having ordinary velocity and significant mass. It is very significant for particles like electrons, photons, protons, etc. This you should understand. And also, the velocity of matter waves depends on the velocity of material particle, because lambda is equal to h by mv. So from this, both depends on the mass of the particle as well as the velocity of the particle. And also, the velocity of matter waves depends on the velocity of material particle, but it is not constant, because electromagnetic wave, when it is traveling in space, it has a constant velocity, whereas here the velocity of matter wave, it is changing, and also it is greater than light. There is nothing in the world which crosses the velocity of light in general, but here the matter wave is possessing a velocity more than the velocity of light. So from this expression, you have E is equal to H nu is equal to mc square, or H nu is equal to mc square, or u is equal to mc square by h. The velocity is given by omega is wave velocity is given by nu into lambda, frequency into wavelength. So that is finally given by c square by v. So as the particle v cannot exceed c, velocity of the particle is always less than the speed of light, then omega is more than c to satisfy that expression. So the velocity of the matter wave is more than the velocity of light. So this is another surprising factor. You can't predict this, but you can predict this, but you can't see this because the velocity is more than the velocity of light. So the wave and particle aspects of moving bodies can never appear together in the same experiment. So suppose you are doing an experiment, either it be a wave or a particle. Simultaneously, you can't. Our eye and our device has a limitation. You can't see both the wave nature and particle nature simultaneously. So the wave nature of matter introduced an uncertainty in the location of the position of the particle because a wave cannot be located exactly at a point. That's why Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says it is impossible to predict both the position and momentum of the particle like electron to any desired degree of accuracy. So this actually indirectly the de Broglie concept of matter wave supports the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this is the concept proposed by de Broglie. Like light ray, a material particle can also be associated with a wave by a wavelength lambda is equal to h by mv, where m is the mass of the particle and v is the velocity. So m tends to 0, lambda tends to high, infinity, and as v tends to 0, then lambda tends to infinity. And the velocity of a matter wave is much greater than the speed of light because the wave velocity is c square by v. As v is much less than c, omega is much greater than c. So the wave velocity is of a matter wave is much greater than the velocity of light. And these are the properties of matter waves. The wave and the particle aspects of moving bodies, they will not occur together because either it is a wave or a particle. Because a device or a human eye cannot see both the phenomena, the dual nature of material and particle. And also it confirms the uncertainty principle. You can't find the position and momentum of the particle like electron to any desired degree of accuracy. So these are the properties of matter waves. I think in intermediate we have studied all this. Is this concept is clear, girls?
Yes, sir.
No, these are the expressions. If you want to write this one, so if E is the kinetic energy of the particle, then kinetic energy is E, that is half mv square. You know the expression for kinetic energy. The same can be expressed as p square by 2m, where p is the momentum. Therefore, p is equal to, you can write under root to 2mv, and you know that lambda is equal to h by p, so that is h by under root to 2mv. So another way of expressing the matter wave in terms of kinetic energy. Don't assume here capital E is total energy, it is kinetic energy. That's why it is given. So if E represents the kinetic energy, then E is equal to P square by 2m, or P is equal to under root 2mE. And we know that lambda is equal to h by P. Instead of P, you can substitute under root 2mE. Therefore, lambda is equal to h by under root 2mE. Now you can apply the de Broglie wavelength for an electron. So let us consider an electron of mass m and charge E moving with the velocity, some velocity and accelerated by a potential capital V, and the velocity is v. Then you know that half mv square is equal to ev, because for charged particle like electron, the kinetic energy is ev, where E is the charge, V is the potential, v is equal to under root 2 ev by L. And from de Broglie's concept, we have lambda is equal to h by mv, that is h by m into v can be written as under root 2 ev by L. So this is h into under root 2 EVM. By putting the values, the h value is the 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 34 under root 2 into voltage into the charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, and the mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 under root. So if you calculate this, you will be getting lambda is equal to 12.26 by and square root of 3 angstroms. Suppose if you keep the value V as 100 volts, that is when an electron is subjected to 100 volts, Then lambda is equal to 12.26 by under root 100, that is 10. Therefore, it is 12.26 by 10, 1.226 angstroms. I mean to say, whenever an electron is accelerated by a potential of 100 volts, the wavelength associated with matter wave associated with electron is represented by 1.226 angstroms. So straight away it confirms the dual nature of matter, and also the wave associated with the particle is also confirmed because it has a certain wavelength given by 1.226 angstroms when it is subjected to a potential of 100 volts. So this is the evidence. Whenever particles like electrons are accelerated, having some velocity and if they are under certain potential, some matter wave is associated with the particle of specific wavelength. So this way you get as a problem to take these two. The expression for wavelength lambda is equal to h by under root 2 mv, and also the wavelength of electron when accelerated to certain potential, the expression will be 12.26 by root v, where v is the potential here, angstroms. If v is equal to 100 volts, then wavelength is 12.26, 1.226 angstroms. Like that, it changes basing on the potential of it. Please note on this. After this, is this clear, boys? Somebody respond?
Yes, sir.
Girls?
Yes, sir.
I think up to this, it is there in your syllabus language. They prove this concept.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you go, shall I wait? Shall I proceed? We should remember all three expressions. Lambda is equal to h by mv is that is h by p. And then another
Sir,
yes. Yes.
sir, we can take mass as a proton also, na sir? But value will be changed, na sir?
Mass of a proton, mass of electron are different, na?
No,
Different
sir.
or
Some
same?
various problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
sir.
that's what. And also one more thing, this is the rest mass. The mass of a particle at rest electron is different than its rest mass. It's a little bit complex to explain. But if you have specific mass at that particular point, you can calculate wavelength associated with the particle. It is slightly different. Even for electron, it will be different. Because m is equal to m naught by root of 1 minus v square is the actual relation between the mass of electron at rest and mass of electron in motion. So actually we should take that calculation. But this is an example sake. Suppose it is accelerated by a potential, initially it is at rest, then wavelength associated at that instant is 12.265 under root. Even the for electron it changes. Of course, for proton it will be different. That means you can understand simultaneously electrons and protons, they change their phase. Sometimes the particle instantaneously within fraction of a second they become wave, and the particle like that they may change also under certain circumstances. Now this is very important. You should. This is a short answer question. Properties and physical significance of wave function psi. So, according to de Broglie, any material particle, whether it is a charged or uncharged particle, can be associated with a wave. So, the wave is represented by a wave function xi or psi. So, it is described by de Broglie. So, it measures the variation of matter waves. So, the wave function associated with the particle is a matter wave, is represented by a wave function psi, and it connects the particles and its associated waves statistically. So you can interpret the matter waves associated with the particle in certain forms represented by a wave function psi. So the wave function is characterized, the instantaneous state of a particle can be characterized by the wave function psi of xyz t, where in for three-dimensional space xyz are position coordinates and t is the time coordinate. Or the same can be expressed as psi of r comma t, where r is the position in three dimension, r is xyz. So the position of a particle along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, and also its time, instantaneous state, it is characterized by the wave function psi of xyz t or psi of r, where xyz are position coordinates and t is the time coordinate. And another property of wave function is the psi must be finite, continuous, and a single value everywhere. You know all these definitions in differentiation and integration. So the wave function is a finite wave function, and also it is a continuous wave function, and it has a single value at any instant. So this is the property of a wave function, and the psi must be a well-behaved function. That is, not only psi but also its the first and second derivatives should exist, and must be single valued finite and continuous. So if you take the first derivation, second derivation of psi, dou square psi with respect to position or time, dou square psi by dou x square, or dou square psi by dou t square with respect to time, or dou psi by dou x, or dou psi by dou t. They are also single valued finite and continuous. Then only a function can be called as a well-behaved function. Not only psi, but it's the first and the second derivatives also having or single valued finite and continuous. And the nature of the wave function is a complex, like x plus iy. You have, you know probably the complex numbers. The complex number is x plus iy, where x and y are real numbers and I is imaginary. I square is equal to -1. Because of I, x is a real component, iy becomes an imaginary component. That's why x plus iy is a complex function. Like this wave function is also a complex function type, and it does not have a direct physical meaning. So it has a complex nature, and when we multiply this with its complex conjugate, if psi is a function, its complex conjugate is psi star, then the product psi star psi or mod psi square, which is called as the probable density, it is having a physical significance. A simple example, suppose a wave function is in the form psi is x plus iy. So its complex conjugate is, can anyone tell? This is students. A function psi is x plus iy. Then its complex conjugate is girls.
X minus iy.
Very well understood. Why are you thinking so much? X minus iy is its complex conjugate. So if you take the product, then x plus iy into x minus iy. It is again x square plus y square only, because I square is -1. Already minus is there. So the complex conjugate is having real meaning. Here x plus iy means x is a real function, that is it is has a physical significance, and iy is imaginary, it has a wave nature. So it's a combination of both the matter as well as the wave nature of the particle. Like that, the significance of psi will exist for a particle like electron or other protons, neutrons, etc. And the wave function, as I said, it describes the position of the particle with respect to time. So at any instant, the position with respect to time can be described by this particle. And if the probability of finding a particle in a particular volume is equal to 1, then the wave function is called as normalized function. So if the probability of generally probability is 0, so maximum value of probability is 1. So if the probability of finding a particle over a volume is equals to 1, then the wave function is called as a normalized wave function. So for psi to be normalized wave function, the conditions should be integration minus infinity to plus infinity psi star dou tau is equal to 1, where dou tau is dx into dy into dz, which is over a volume. So if this condition is satisfied, psi integration minus infinity to plus infinity psi star dou tau is equals to 1, then the psi wave function is called as a normalized wave function. So this is the physical significance and the properties of a wave function. According to de Broglie, I will repeat this, any material particle can be associated with a wave. So the instantaneous state of a particle can be described the probability of of that a particle will be found at a given place in space at any given instant of time can be characterized by a wave function given by psi of xyz t, where xyz are position coordinates and t is the time coordinate. So the same can be again another form represented as psi of r comma t, where r is the position in three-dimensional space and t is the time. For any rotation you can use. So psi is the wave function associated with the particle and it measures the variation of matter waves. That means the instantaneous state of a particle in terms of its wave function can be described by the wave function. So it connects the particles and its material matter wave statistically and can be described by the wave function. And xyz are the position coordinates and t is the time coordinate. And the wave function must be finite, continuous and single valued everywhere. So it is also called as a well-behaved function. Not only psi, but also its first and second derivatives are also finite, continuous and single valued. That's why they are called as psi is called as a well-behaved wave function. And it is in the form of complex form, x plus iy form. So it does not have any direct physical meaning. But if you take the complex quantity and take the product, which is called as the probable density, P is equal to psi star, which is mod psi whole square. It has a physical significance. And P is called as the probable density. If x plus iy is the wave function, its complex quantity is x minus iy. If you take the product, the imaginary part vanishes, you will be getting x square plus y square, which is real in nature. So the probable density has physical significance, which is represented by mod psi square or psi star into psi. And the wave function having coordinate position in the time coordinates, it describes the instantaneous state of a particle with respect to time. And also another important property of the wave function is it is a normalized wave function. If the probability of finding a particle over a volume is equals to 1, that is, probability of finding a particle in space is finite, then the wave function associated with the particle is called as a normalized function. So psi will be normalized if the condition integration minus infinity to plus infinity psi star or mod psi square theta is equal to 1, then the wave function is called as a normalized wave function. So here, by using this, the probability of finding a particle over a volume is equals to 1. That's why the psi wave function psi is called as a normalized wave function. So these are the properties of wave function psi, where psi is a wave function associated with the matter wave proposed by de Broglie. Just you screenshot or take this these points. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Is this clear, girls? Properties of wave function.
Yes, sir.
You have to read this carefully. If you have any doubt, you can ask afterwards. Now we'll be going to an important topic in this Schrodinger time-dependent wave equation. While I am explaining, you be ready with your book and pen. You note down the derivation part, because if you see with the eyes, it may not register. You write in your own words. My explanation also, so that while preparing for exam, it will be easy. Anyway, I will be sharing this PPT, but try to write, put it on paper so that you can understand it better. So today we have discussed the de Broglie concept of matter waves and the properties of matter waves, and a special case is electron. When electron is subjected to certain potential, it gets accelerated, and the wavelength associated with electron we have derived at 12.26 by under root 3 angstroms, and you can keep the value of V. For 100 if volts are applied, the wavelength is 1.226 angstroms. And then we have discussed the properties of wave function and its significance we have discussed. Then another important breakthrough in wave mechanics is the Schrodinger's wave equation. So as we discussed in the introductory part, according to classical theory, a particle is completely determined by its initial position and momentum simultaneously. So let us consider a particle of mass m moving with initial velocity u1. After some time it gets accelerated, the velocity becomes u2. Then the initial momentum is mu1, the final momentum is mu2. Changing the momentum also you can calculate m into u2 minus u1. But from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, the initial position and momentum of a particle Like electron, it cannot be measured simultaneously with the desired accuracy. So this is the limitation in Newtonian mechanics are not valid for particles like electrons. And also, from de Broglie theory of matter waves, a material particle can be associated with a wave called as matter wave. So by considering the above mentioned theories, Schrodinger proposed the mathematical reformations called wave mechanics, which interpret the dual nature of matter. So he has derived certain mathematical equations. In the same mathematical equation, you can observe the wave nature as well as the particle nature of a particle. So simultaneously, both the dual nature of matter is expressed in some mathematical equations. And these equations, Schrodinger gave two wave equations to describe matter waves. One is the time-dependent wave equation, and the second one is time-independent wave equation, which are called as wave mechanics or quantum mechanics. So this is the origin. So classical theory, you can find the position momentum simultaneously. Uncertainty principle for particles like electrons, you cannot measure the position momentum simultaneously. And also from de Broglie's concept of matter waves, the particle like electron can be associated with a wave when once some potential is applied, which is called as matter wave of wavelength lambda is equal to h by mv. So Schrodinger tried to interpret both the wave nature and the particle nature by using some mathematical equations, and these mathematical equations are called as wave mechanics or quantum mechanics. He has derived in general two important equations. One is the Schrodinger time dependent wave equation, and the second one Schrodinger time independent wave equation. So two equations are there. First we go to Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. Take the heading Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. While I am explaining, you try to write this and it will be helpful for you. So the first equation which depends on time, that means the wave function depends on time, which is called as the Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. Further, let us consider the motion of a particle in one dimension. So actually wave function is psi of x, y, z, t, four coordinates are there, three position coordinates and one time coordinate. But for making it simple, let us consider the motion of a particle in one dimension. Extend them to three dimensions you can do. For simplicity, let us consider the motion of a particle in one dimension. Then the wave function can be represented as psi of xt, because we are considering only one dimension. You take x coordinate. So let us psi of xt is the wave function associated with the particle. Now, in general, according to classical mechanics, the displacement of a particle executing simple harmonic motion is described by y is equal to a sin kx minus omega t. So, by taking the analogy, so it's not a derivation. Schrodinger took the analogy from this because both material particle and wave they have some similarities. You can write the wave function also can be psi is equal to a e power I into kx minus omega k. This is equation 1, where a is the amplitude and k is called as propagation vector or propagation constant given by 2 pi by lambda, and omega is angular frequency or omega is equal to 2 pi nu, where nu is the frequency and lambda is the wavelength of matter waves. It is equation 1. So it's simply an analogy. You are not deriving anything. First we are writing an expression for the particle executing simple harmonic motion y is equal to a e power a sin x kx minus omega t. By taking the analogy, the wave function y is replaced with psi here, xi. So it is psi is equal to a e power I into kx minus omega t. Here is the amplitude, because it is also simple harmonic in nature. K is propagation vector given by 2 pi by lambda, and omega is angular frequency given by 2 pi nu, where nu is the frequency and lambda is the wavelength of matter waves. And equation 1 is psi is equal to a e power I into kx minus omega t. Equation 1. Please note of this. Shall I proceed? Boys? You're copying?
1 minute, sir.
Okay, copy. Girls, you also copy. You have completed, please tell me. I'll go to the next part of the derivation. Girls, did you copy?
Yes, sir.
So that is equation 1. Then according to Planck's law, we have E is equal to h nu. So for mathematical convenience, you multiply and divide with 2 pi. So it won't change the value in the right side. So E is equal to h nu into 2 pi by 2 pi. Then again it can be rearranged as 2 pi nu into h by 2 pi. But we know that 2 pi nu is omega. So E is equal to omega h by 2 pi. Or omega is equal to E by h cross, because the h cross is equal to h by 2 pi. So omega is equal to E by h cross is equation 2. Is it clear? From Planck's law, we have E is equal to h nu. Then you multiply and divide the right hand side with the 2 pi, it doesn't change the value. So it is h nu by 2 pi by 2 pi. Again, it can be arranged as 2 pi nu into h by 2 pi, where 2 pi nu is omega, h by 2 pi is h cross. So E is equal to omega into h cross, or omega is equal to E by h cross. This is equation 2. Please note down this. Also, we have from de Broglie's theory, P is equal to h by lambda, or actually lambda is equal to h by P. From that, you can write P is equal to h by lambda. Again, in this also, you do the same thing. Again, you multiply and divide with 2 pi. So, this is h by lambda into 2 pi by 2 pi. So, it can be h by 2 pi into 2 pi by lambda. H by 2 pi is h cross, 2 pi by lambda is k. Therefore, K is equal to P by h cross, equation 3. Why we are doing here? If you go to the equation 1, instead of K, you can write P by h cross, and instead of omega, you can write E by h cross. So we are converting K and omega in terms of momentum and energy. Because for conservation of energy, we can write the combination of kinetic and the potential energy. For that purpose, we are rearranging this one. Please copy this. Is this okay, boys? First, you have taken Planck's law, and you multiply and divide by 2 pi, and 2 pi nu is omega, h by 2 pi is h cross. We will be getting omega is E by h cross, equation 2. From de Broglie's concept, we have E is equal to h by lambda. Again, you multiply and divide by 2 pi. So you will be getting h by 2 pi into 2 pi by lambda. H by 2 pi is nothing but h cross. 2 pi by lambda is k. So you will be getting P is equal to h cross k, or k is equal to P by h cross. That is equation 3. Please copy. Shall I proceed, students? Boys, shall I wait? Shall I proceed? Respond, please. Girls?
Proceed, sir.
Huh? Okay. Okay. Now we have equation 1, 2, 3. So instead of omega and instead of k, you can substitute in equation 1. So actually it is omega x. Omega can be represented by p by h cross and k can be represented by e by h cross. So equation 1 becomes xi is equal to a e to the power of I into, instead of omega we are putting here p by h cross. So p by h cross into x minus e by h cross into t. Then you should differentiate. First order differentiation with respect to position we can do. Dou xi by dou x is equal to, it's a periodic function, so we will be getting first one as it is, a e to the power of I into p by h cross into x minus e by h cross into t. This is as it is. Now differentiation of I into p by h cross x, you will be getting I by h cross into p. This is, I think, all you know the differentiation. So the first term, a e to the power of I into p by h cross into x minus e by h cross into t can be psi only. So it can be written as dou psi by dou x is equal to psi into I by h cross into p. From this you can write p psi is equal to dou psi by dou x into h cross by I. So you bring h cross by I to the left hand side and rearrange. You will be getting p psi is equal to dou psi by dou x into h cross by I. And what is the value of I square? Students? I square is, girls?
-1.
-1,
So what is minus I square?
1.
1. So here what we want actually is, in the denominator I is there, we should eliminate this I in the denominator. So for that what we can write is, here in the right hand side you can multiply with minus I square, which is plus 1. It will not change the value. So simply you should remember this. I didn't write it here. So you are here in the right hand side, you are multiplying with minus I square, which will not affect the value because minus I square is 1 only. So minus I square into dou psi by dou x into h by h cross by I. Now this I and which is there in the denominator and numerator can be cancelled, and you will be getting p psi is equal to minus I h cross dou by dou x into psi, equation 4. So this minus I h cross dou by dou x, this is called as momentum operator. And you should remember here, p psi means not p into psi. The momentum is associated with the wave function. Similarly, right hand side also, the equivalent operator is minus I h cross dou by dou x. Don't assume it is the product of p into psi. It is not only a mathematical sense, it is that the momentum is associated with the wave. So p psi is equal to minus I h cross dou by dou x into psi, which is equation 4. So in the right hand side, minus I h cross dou by dou x, it is called as momentum operator. Take up to equation 4. Is it okay? Did you complete it? Boys, shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, now you should differentiate with respect to time. The same we are doing. First one, we are differentiating with x, then differentiating with t you should. So dou psi by dou t. The first one, of course, it is a periodic function, it will be same, e power something. So this is a e power I into p by h cross into x minus E by H cross into T, that is as it is. Then the differentiation of I into minus E by H cross into T, that is nothing but minus I by H cross into E. Then the first term again it is psi only. You will be taking the minus in the beginning. So this is minus psi into I by H cross into E. Then you take E psi. So E psi is minus dou psi by dou T into H cross by I. Now the negative sign can be written as minus I square, sorry, because minus means it is I square only. So we are removing minus by I square. So this is I square into dou psi by dou T H cross by I. So the I which is in the denominator can be cancelled once with the I in the numerator. So finally we will be getting E psi is equal to I H cross dou by dou T of psi, equation 5, where it represents the energy operator. E psi is equal to I H cross dou by dou T. So in the first we are representing with differentiating with x, and here we are differentiating with psi. Please copy this, and you should do this derivation in the exam. So you should practice by simply saying with I or some simply listening. You cannot reproduce. So I gave this in the PPT as per the exam is concerned. What actually you have to write in the exam, it is there, but you should practice this. And finally, so actually the partial derivatives of psi with respect to x and t are connected by the relation between energy and momentum, because we have defined momentum operator and the energy operator by equations 4 and 5. Now from the law of conservation of energy, we have kinetic energy plus potential energy is equal to total energy, which is nothing but P square by 2m, which is kinetic energy, V is the potential energy, is equals to the total energy. The same we have expressed there. Now what we should do is, we should associate the wave function to the above expression. It's not multiplying, we are associating, because according to the Broglie concept of matter waves, any material particle can be associated with a wave. So by associating the wave function, we can write P square by 2m plus V of psi is equal to E of psi. Then P is equal to, we have defined the momentum operator, which is minus I H cross dou by dou x. It is square, so it is minus I H cross dou by dou x into minus I H cross dou by dou x by 2m into psi plus V psi is equal to, instead of E, you have to write I H cross dou by dou T of psi. Then I into I is I square. I square is minus 1, and minus into minus is plus, so minus remains. So finally you will be getting minus H cross square by 2m dou square psi by dou x square plus V psi. This is equal to I H cross dou psi by dou t. This is called as Schrodinger time dependent wave equation, which is also called as written as H psi is equal to E psi, where H is minus H cross square by 2m dou square by dou x plus V, which is called as Hamiltonian operator. It's combination of both the kinetic energy and potential energy, which is also called as Hamiltonian operator. And equation 6 represents Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. Please take this. After you finishing writing, once again in brief, I'll scroll these slides so that in brief I'll explain. And one more small derivation is this Schrodinger time independent equation. Within 5 minutes I'll complete so that I can stop today. Next class I can complete this chapter. So bear with me for more 5 to 10 minutes. I have to do some instructions as per offline lab is concerned. So in this Schrodinger time independent wave equation, first we are taking the analogy because consider the motion of a particle in one dimension. For simplicity, we assume psi is a function of position in one dimension only, so it is x of t is the wave function, where x is the position coordinate, t is the time coordinate. So in general, the expression for the particle executing in simple harmonic motion is y is equal to a sin kx minus omega t. So Schrodinger took the analogy. So the wave function, just you can replace wave function. It's like Newton's laws. There is no derivation, only analogy you can write. So wave function psi is equal to a e power I into kx minus omega t, where a is the amplitude, k is propagation constant given by 2 pi by lambda, where lambda is the wavelength, omega is angular frequency, which is 2 pi nu, where nu is the frequency. Then from Planck's law we have E is equal to h nu. For mathematical convenience, you multiply and divide by 2 pi. So this should be 2 pi nu into h by 2 pi. 2 pi nu is omega, h by 2 pi is h cross. So you will be getting E is equal to omega into h cross, or omega is equal to E by h cross. Now by using de Broglie's concept, we have P is equal to h by lambda, where P is the momentum, and again you multiply and divide it by 2 pi. Then you will be getting h by 2 pi into 2 pi by lambda, that is h cross into k, or k is equal to p by h cross. This is equation 3. Now in equation 1, you have to substitute for omega and also k. Then you will be getting psi is equal to a e power I into p by h cross into x minus e by h cross into t. Now differentiate with respect to x. The first term is as it is. Now the differentiation with respect to x, you will be getting I by h cross into p. So this is psi into I by h cross into p, or p psi is equal to dou psi by dou x into h cross by I. To eliminate the I in the denominator, in the numerator you multiply with minus I square. Finally, we will be getting p psi is equal to minus I h cross dou by dou x into psi, where this is called as momentum operator. Similarly, you should take the differentiation with respect to t. You will be getting dou psi by dou t. First term is as is, and the differentiation of the term with respect to t is minus I by h cross e. Again, it should be minus psi I by h cross into e. You will be getting e psi is equal to minus dou psi by dou t h cross by I. And the negative sign itself can be written as I square. So I square into dou psi by dou t h cross by I cancels once, and E psi is equal to I h cross dou by dou t into psi, equation 5. So this equation represents the energy operator. Now the partial derivatives of psi with respect to x and t are connected by the relation between energy and momentum. Using the conservation of energy principle, we can write E square by 2m plus v is equal to E, where P square by 2m is kinetic energy, V is the potential energy. By associating the wave, we can write P square by 2m plus V of psi is equal to E psi. Substitute for P, which is minus I h cross dou by dou x, and substitute for E, which is I h cross dou by dou t. We will be getting equation 6, which is minus h cross square by 2m dou square psi by dou x square plus V psi is equal to I h cross dou psi by dou t, which is called as Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. The same can be represented as h psi is equal to E psi, where h is the left hand side of the equation, which is called as Hamiltonian. So equation 6 gives the Schrodinger time dependent wave equation. And coming to the second, which is the Schrodinger time, now the function is independent of time. So the same we are taking psi is equal to a into e power I into kx minus omega t. Everything is same. Consider a particle of mass m moving with velocity v, and psi is the wave function associated with the particle. The same we have, where a is the amplitude, k is the 2 pi by lambda propagation vector, and omega is angular frequency, which is 2 pi nu. The same we have taken. Now what we should do is first differentiation, dou psi by dou x. So if you differentiate it directly without defining momentum operator and energy operator, you will be getting ai k e to the power of minus I into kx minus omega. The same can be written as ik into psi. Then you take the second derivative, differentiation. Then dou square psi by dou x square is equal to, you will be getting minus a k square, because I square you will be getting, so I square is minus 1, so this is minus a into k square e to the power of I into kx minus omega t, which is k square into psi, because minus a e to the power of I into kx minus omega t is psi only, so this is minus k square, sorry, it is minus k square, so it is the missing here, I will correct it.
Sir, once first equation, sir.
The same, what we took even for sine in Schrodinger time, in a dependent wave equation, same we took. But what we did there was, by taking Planck's law and by taking de Broglie hypothesis, we wrote for k and omega in terms of energy and momentum. But here we are not doing the same expression. We are doing dou psi by dou x and dou psi by dou t, dou square psi by dou x square. We are not doing dou psi by dou t because it is time independent wave equation. Got it? The basic equation is same. Basic equation is same. So here what we are doing is right away we are taking the first derivative with respect to x. So dou psi by dou x we took, that is ai k e to the power of I into kx minus omega t, which is nothing but ik into psi. And if you take the second derivative, sorry, here it is something wrong, it is minus k square, sir, minus is there. So you correct there, I can't do it now because it is copy paste something. So dou square psi by dou x square is equal to minus a into k square e to the power of I into kx minus omega t. That is minus k square psi. Now you bring minus k square psi here, you will be getting equation 2. Dou square psi by dou x square plus k square psi is equal to 0. This is equation 2. But we know that k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. When you substitute, then it will be dou square psi by dou x square plus k is 2 pi by lambda, k square is 4 pi square by lambda square into psi is equal to 0. You are getting it. Then also we know that according to de Broglie's concept, lambda is equal to h by mv. So in this expression, instead of lambda, you should substitute h by mv. Please copy this. If you say proceed, I will proceed to the next one. Shall I proceed, girls?
Yes, sir.
Boys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So instead of lambda, now you should substitute h by mv in the equation. So the same we have expressed there. Therefore, dou square psi by dou x square plus 4 pi square m square v square by h square into psi is equal to 0. This is equation 3. Instead of lambda, we have substituted h by mv. Then again, from law of conservation of energy, total energy E is equal to half mv square plus v, kinetic energy plus potential energy. Or m square v square is equal to, you can write 2m into E minus v. So substituting in the above expression, we will be getting dou square psi by dou x square plus m square v square can be replaced by 2m into E minus v. Already 4 is there, that's why it becomes 8 pi square m by h cross square h square into E minus v into psi. M square v square can be replaced with 2m into E minus v. So equation 5 can be obtained. Dou square psi by dou x square plus 8 pi square m by h square into E minus v into psi is equal to 0. This is equation 5. So if you extend this into 3 dimension, it is dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou y square plus dou square psi by dou z square plus 8 pi square m by h square into E minus psi is equal to 0. This is equation 6. Please take this. Shall I proceed? Equation 6 is called Schrodinger time independent wave equation, and also it can be rearranged by defining h cross, which is h by 2 pi. The same I did here, which is del square psi plus 8 pi square m by h square into e minus v into psi is equal to 0. Or the same can be expressed as del square psi plus 2m by h cross square into e minus v, because h by 2 pi is h cross. So by taking that, we will be getting del square psi plus 2m by h cross square e minus v into psi is equal to 0, which is called as Schrodinger time independent wave equation, where del square is dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square plus dou square by dou z square, which is called as Laplacian operator or a spatial operator. Operator which interacts a space with certain physical quantity, which is called as Laplacian operator. And the above equation is called as Schrodinger time independent wave equation. So here also the same basic expression we took, psi is equal to a e power I into kx minus omega t, but instead of defining k and omega, just straight away we can take the differentiation first and second derivation with respect to position, that is dou psi by dou x and dou square psi by dou x square. So you will be getting a second order differential equation, dou square psi by dou x square plus k square psi is equal to 0. Now k is equal to 2 pi by lambda and lambda is equal to h by mv. By putting these two in the above expression, we will be getting dou square psi by dou x square plus 4 pi square m square by h square into psi is equal to 0. From law of conservation of energy, it is E is equal to half mv square plus v. So from this you can write 2m square v square is equal to 2, because of half mv square you can write e minus v, mv square is equal to 2 into e minus v, m square v square is equal to 2m into e minus v. I took it straight here. By putting that value, equation 3 becomes dou square psi by dou x square plus 8 pi square m by h square into e minus v into psi is equal to 0. To extend into 3 dimension, you should write dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou s square plus dou square psi by dou z square plus 8 pi square m h by h square into e minus v psi is equal to 0. The same can be simplified as del square psi plus 8 pi square m by h square e minus v into psi is equal to 0. But h by 2 pi is h cross. In terms of h cross, it can be written as del square psi plus 2m by h cross square into e minus v into psi is equal to 0. This is called as Schrodinger time independent wave equation, or del square is dou square by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square plus dou square by dou z square. This is called as Schrodinger time independent wave equation. I think let's stop here today. And I think all you are coming on Monday, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So while coming for the lab, better you bring pencil, eraser and scientific calculator also, because within the class session you should complete the calculations. Only 2 hours time is given, because every day we have 3 sessions. So you see manual, lab manual, record and assignment books are distributed the lab itself on Monday. And in the lab manual, you can have to do the experiment after the explanation, and you should complete the calculation. The graph part is also there. You should complete the graph itself. It's continuous evaluation. So be in time. Better bring your lunch boxes. Classroom is given for each and every section. You can have your lunch in the classroom. And when you have a lab session, according to the schedule, you should go to the lab. The teachers will coordinate for this. But be regular and attend out, because Monday we are missing already 1 week. So 1 week, that means not this Monday, and next Monday probably you have to do 2 experiments. So then only you can complete the cycle. So keeping this in mind, don't miss the class, and bring your scientific calculator, pencil, scale, eraser, etc. something, so that you can complete the experiment in the lab itself only. This you keep in mind, and bring your lunch box, strong lunch box, because you should do 3 experiments, 3 lab sessions. You have PWE, physics and engineering graphics simultaneously on Monday, isn't it? So it should be, and only one topic is left in this chapter, that is particle in one dimension box. Tuesday I have my regular class, second hour, 11 to something. I can complete this chapter, and only one chapter is left, that is electromagnetic theory. So Wednesday, and by taking one more extra class, I can complete electromagnetic theory. So that you will be getting some time to revise, and you can interact with me during lab session if you have any doubts in the theory. That is, that will time will allocate, and you can interact with even any teacher. But first priority is you should complete lab experiments during these 3 weeks, because most likely from 6th April you have a lab external examination. This you keep in mind, and then you arrange your accommodation, hostel, whatever it's so that at least for 1 month you should focus on your studies. Once you finish your external lab examination, then you can have certain time for preparing for external theory. Until you should be very careful and compile the notes, and also clarify your doubts when you visit the college, etc. That you keep in mind. And respond for the attendance.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, previously we have completed assignment, sir, lab assignments, two
Yeah.
experiments.
No,
We have to
other,
submit in college, sir.
no, not required. The same experiments will be conducted here also, energy cap and optical fiber. And I think you can do it very easily, because one is optical fiber. What experiments you did? One is energy cap and another one is PN junction diode. Now,
Yes, sir.
those two experiments will be conducted simultaneously within one lab session, so that practically, physically, you can do those experiments. Then you can write it in the report. No need to submit. Okay. What we thought was may not be, because of this pandemic, we thought we may not get this time. So we have conducted virtual labs. And anyhow, if you're not able to conduct, then you can write down the record. But we'll take care of you. What experiments you have done in the lab, from them only you'll be getting for external examination. That I'll take care. Okay. So respond for the attendance: 61, 62,
Present, sir. 61.
okay.
62 present.
63, 64,
Present, sir.
65,
Present, sir.
66,
Present, sir.
67,
Present, sir.
68,
Present, sir.
69,
Present, sir.
70,
Present, sir.
71,
Present, sir.
72,
Present, sir.
73,
Sir.
74, 74,
Present, sir.
75,
Present, sir.
76, 77,
Present, sir.
78, 78, 79, 80,
Present, sir.
81,